Let's be honest. If there were a global superstar in the world of anti-inflammatory foods, turmeric would easily top the list. For centuries, it's been revered in Ayurvedic and Asian medicine, and, in recent years, it's become a household name in the West. People putting turmeric in lattes, smoothies, capsules, even desserts. That's all thanks to curcumin, its main active compound. Science shows it has powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. It helps ease joint pain, reduce swelling, support liver health, and even improve cognitive function. But here's the thing. Many people, especially those over 60, tell me they take turmeric daily, yet still suffer from chronic pain, stiffness, or fatigue. So, what's going wrong?
You bring up an excellent point, Dr. Hyman. Turmeric is indeed powerful, but just like any medicine or food, how we use it matters, especially as we age. At over 100 years old, I've seen this mistake repeatedly. Seniors assume that simply adding turmeric to their diet will reduce inflammation. But our bodies after 60 are not the same as when we were 30. The digestive system becomes weaker, enzyme production slows down, and nutrient absorption declines.
Exactly. People forget that curcumin isn't absorbed easily. You could be taking large amounts of turmeric, but if your body isn't equipped to process it properly, it just passes through without much effect. That's why this episode is so important. We want to help you understand why turmeric alone might not be working, and more importantly, what simple load, natural ingredients you can combine with it to unlock its true anti-inflammatory power.
When used correctly, turmeric is like a silent healer, gentle but deeply effective. But think of it like a key without a lock. On its own, it has potential, but without the right companions, it stays locked away. Today, we will show you 3 powerful combinations that make turmeric actually work, especially for older adults. Whether you're struggling with arthritis, swelling, or just want to protect your heart and brain from low-grade inflammation, these combos can make a huge difference.
If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more science-backed tips on healthy aging. Your support helps us bring more life-changing insights to people over 60 every single week. So, now that we've established turmeric's incredible potential, let's dive into why so many people, especially over 60, are taking it and still feeling the same pain and inflammation. The answer lies in one word: absorption. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is what gives it those amazing benefits. But the truth is, curcumin has extremely poor bioavailability on its own. That means your body doesn't absorb it well. In fact, studies show that if you take turmeric alone without any enhancers, less than 1% of the curcumin actually makes it into your bloodstream.
That's a very small number, Mark, and it's even worse for older adults. After the age of 60, the stomach produces less acid, the liver becomes less efficient at metabolizing nutrients, and the gut lining weakens. All of this makes it even harder for curcumin to be broken down and absorbed properly. You might eat turmeric every day, but it could be doing almost nothing for your inflammation if your digestive system isn't cooperating.
That's why the delivery method is critical. You can't rely on turmeric alone. You have to combine it with ingredients that help it get into your system. One of the most studied enhancers, black pepper. It contains a compound called piperine, which increases curcumin absorption by up to 0%. That's not a typo. It's 2,000%. So that's why you often see turmeric capsules sold with black pepper extract, or why traditional recipes always combine the two.
But in many traditional Japanese and Indian dishes, turmeric is never used alone. It's mixed with oil, pepper, or fermented foods, all of which improve absorption. But modern supplements often miss this point. Or people sprinkle turmeric into their tea or smoothie and assume that's enough. Another key factor, fat. Curcumin is fat-soluble. which means it needs to be consumed with healthy fats to be absorbed. That could be olive oil, coconut milk, or even a handful of walnuts. Without fat, it simply won't enter your bloodstream effectively.
And here's another thing: your body isn't just a passive recipient. It actively decides what gets absorbed and what gets flushed out. So we need to work with the body, not against it. In the next parts, we'll explore 3 powerful combinations that include turmeric, but with the right enhancers to ensure maximum anti-inflammatory benefit. These aren't supplements from a bottle. They're simple food-based combinations that you can use daily. And these combos aren't just about absorption. They're also designed to tackle the root causes of inflammation, like poor blood flow, oxidative stress, insulin resistance, and immune overreaction. So, if you're ready to go beyond turmeric and finally feel the difference, it starts with what you combine it with. This is a recipe has been used in traditional healing for centuries, and modern science is finally catching up. It's called golden milk. At first glance, it's just a warm drink made with turmeric. But when you look closer, it's actually one of the smartest ways to activate the anti-inflammatory power of curcumin if you do it right.
Many people think just drinking turmeric tea is enough, but curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is not easily absorbed on its own. It needs help. That's why golden milk isn't just a tasty tradition, it's a carefully designed therapeutic drink. In my clinic, I've seen elderly patients reduce joint pain, sleep better, and even improve digestion after just a few weeks of drinking this at night.
The science is very clear on this. When you combine turmeric with black pepper, specifically the compound piperine found in pepper, it increases curcumin's bioavailability by up to 2,000%. That's a staggering difference. But it doesn't stop there. Curcumin is fat-soluble, which means it needs healthy fat to be fully absorbed. That's where coconut oil, or ghee, comes in. Coconut oil not only helps curcumin get into your cells, it also supports the brain and reduces inflammation itself. Ghee, especially when grass-fed, has similar effects and is often easier to digest for the elderly. It's also rich in butyrate, which helps maintain gut health, a key part of inflammation control.
Let's break down how to make golden milk at home. It's very simple. You take 1 cup of unsweetened almond or oat milk, 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, a pinch of black pepper, and about half a teaspoon of coconut oil or ghee. Heat them gently, never boil, and stir until well combined. Some people like to add cinnamon or ginger for extra anti-inflammatory benefits and taste. I suggest drinking it about 30 minutes before bedtime. The warm drink helps calm the nervous system, and the curcumin starts working overnight. Many of my patients reported reduced swelling in their fingers and knees after just 2 weeks. One 72-year-old woman who couldn't sleep due to shoulder pain came back smiling. Her pain had decreased, and she was sleeping through the night.
There's also research to support these results. A 2018 study in the Journal of Medicinal Food found that people who took turmeric with piperine and fat saw significantly greater reductions in markers like CRP, that's C-reactive protein, a key indicator of chronic inflammation. It's not just about what you eat, it's how you combine it. Another thing to consider is the ritual. Making golden milk becomes part of a healing routine. It reminds the body that it's time to rest and restore. I believe that healing is not only biological, it's also emotional and behavioral. Drinking something warm, comforting, and functional every evening creates a healing rhythm.
One tip: always use high-quality turmeric. Many cheap powders are cut with fillers or old stock that's lost potency. Look for organic turmeric from a trusted source and store it in a cool, dry place away from light. If the color has faded, the curcumin is probably weak, and avoid sweetening it with sugar. If needed, a small amount of raw honey added after it cools can support immunity without spiking inflammation. But for those managing blood sugar, it's better to enjoy it unsweetened or with a few drops of monk fruit extract.
Golden milk isn't magic on its own, but it's a perfect example of how the right food, prepared the right way, can turn a good ingredient into a powerful anti-inflammatory tool. And most importantly, it's something anyone can do. No pills, no side effects, just knowledge, consistency, and a warm mug every night. When we talk about fighting inflammation naturally, turmeric always comes up first. But many people overlook one of its most powerful allies, quercetin. This plant compound doesn't just support turmeric, it actually enhances its effect at the cellular level.
Quercetin is remarkable. In Japan, we've used it indirectly for decades through foods like onions, capers, and certain fruits. It acts as a zinc ionophore. But more importantly for this discussion, it helps turmeric do its job by modulating the immune response. That means it supports the body's ability to suppress inflammatory enzymes, like COX-2 and TNF-alpha. And what's really fascinating is that quercetin inhibits the same inflammatory pathways that curcumin targets, but through a different mechanism. So when you combine the two, you get a broader anti-inflammatory action. It's like closing two doors instead of one.
The science is quite clear. A 2021 meta-analysis published in Phytotherapy Research showed that quercetin supplementation significantly reduced levels of C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, both markers of chronic inflammation. When curcumin and quercetin are combined, some small trials suggest synergistic effects. We see better outcomes for joint pain, metabolic inflammation, and even brain fog. And it's very senior-friendly. You don't need to buy exotic pills. You can build this combination with food. For example, a simple lunch bowl with roasted turmeric seasoned vegetables and a red onion salad gives you a natural dose of both.
Or start your day with a tea. In Japan, I recommend brewing a turmeric tea with a few slices of apple and a touch of raw honey. Then, I enjoy a side of sautéed onions with breakfast. That gives a good base of quercetin. There's also the option of supplements for those who want precision. I usually suggest 500 milligrams of quercetin with 1,000 milligrams of curcumin, being taken with food that contains healthy fats, maybe olive oil or avocado, to increase absorption.
It's important not to rush this. The benefits of turmeric and quercetin build up over weeks, not days. Many people give up too soon, but with consistency, they may notice less joint stiffness in the morning, improved digestion, and more mental clarity. Inflammation doesn't happen overnight, so reversing it takes patience. That's why I often ask my patients to commit to at least 30 days of this combo before evaluating its impact. And one more note for seniors, make sure your gut health is strong. Both turmeric and quercetin are better absorbed when the gut microbiota is balanced. Including fermented foods like kimchi or sauerkraut can amplify their effects. Now, Dr. Hinohara, I want to dive into our third combo today. This one's especially important for our senior listeners dealing with joint pain, fatigue, or even brain fog. We're talking about turmeric combined with omega-3 seconds.
This is a powerful duo. You see, turmeric has always been praised in traditional medicine for its anti-inflammatory properties, largely thanks to its active compound curcumin. But as you and I both know, Mark, curcumin alone isn't always enough, especially in people over 60.
What many people don't realize is that inflammation is multifaceted. Curcumin helps block inflammatory enzymes like COX-2 and downregulates NF-kappa B. But omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, work on a cellular level, integrating into membranes and literally changing the body's response to inflammation. And unfortunately, older adults tend to have chronically low levels of omega-3 seconds, partly due to diet, partly due to poor fat absorption. This leads to more than just inflammation. It's linked to joint degeneration, cardiovascular issues, mental fatigue, even depression.
And studies have shown that combining curcumin with omega-3 seconds actually amplifies the anti-inflammatory effect. One 2022 clinical trial found that patients with chronic knee pain who took both turmeric and fish oil had a significant drop in CRP levels, a key inflammation marker, within 30 days. And when used right, it becomes therapy. So for this combo, we recommend combining turmeric with EPA, DHA-rich foods, such as wild-caught salmon, sardines, walnuts, or chia seeds.
Let's give them a couple of practical meal ideas. One of my favorites, pan-seared turmeric salmon. Marinate your salmon with turmeric powder, black pepper, a little olive oil, and lemon juice. Cook gently and serve with sautéed spinach and sweet potatoes. That's a full anti-inflammatory meal right there. I also enjoy a smoothie in the morning with ground flax seeds for plant-based ALA, a pinch of turmeric and black pepper, and unsweetened almond milk. Sometimes I add soaked walnuts for texture and extra omega-3 seconds.
That's a great one, especially for people who don't eat fish. But I do want to stress, ALA from plants like flax or chia needs to be converted into EPA and DHA, and this conversion is very low in older adults, sometimes less than 5%, so it's still ideal to get direct EPA, DHA from fish or fish oil, when possible. And absorption also depends on the presence of healthy fats. That's why meals like the salmon dish or adding MCT oil to smoothies can make a big difference. Without fat, curcumin and omega-3 seconds won't absorb properly.
Let's also mention the mistakes to avoid with this combo. First, don't take turmeric on an empty stomach without any fat. You'll lose most of the benefits. Second, avoid cheap omega-3 supplements with poor purification. Look for IFO's certified fish oil, or stick to food-based sources. And of course, consistency matters. You won't feel overnight changes, but give it 2-4 weeks. And many people report less joint stiffness, better focus, even improved sleep. Now that we've covered 3 powerful turmeric combinations, each backed by science and practice, I think it's just as important we talk about what people often do wrong. Because sometimes, it's not about the ingredient failing, it's about how it's used. Let's start with the most common mistake taking turmeric without any fat. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is fat-soluble. If you swallow a turmeric capsule with plain water or sprinkle it on rice without oil, your body might absorb less than 10% of it.
Our bodies need a lipid environment like coconut oil, olive oil, or MCT oil to help curcumin move through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream. Without it, most of it just passes through the gut unused. Another big one, skipping the black pepper. People underestimate how critical piperine is. Studies show that piperine boosts curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Just a small pinch of freshly ground pepper can make a huge difference. And not all turmeric powders are equal either. Some cheap brands are mixed with fillers, dyes, or even starch. I always recommend looking for turmeric that's organic, tested for heavy metals, and clearly lists curcumin content, ideally 95% standardized extract.
Also worth noting, taking turmeric inconsistently. A lot of people try it once or twice, don't feel better immediately, and give up. But, like omega-3 seconds or probiotics, turmeric works over time by gently shifting your body's inflammation levels. You need 2 to 4 weeks of daily use to feel real change. Another overlooked issue is storage. Turmeric is sensitive to light and air. If it's left open near the stove or in a humid cabinet, the active compounds degrade quickly. Always store it in a dark, airtight container, away from heat.
Let's not forget the overdosing mistake too. Some people think more is better and take 3-4 tablespoons daily. That can actually irritate the stomach, thin the blood, or interfere with medications like blood thinners or diabetes drugs. And that brings us to one final but serious note, not checking for interactions. People over 60 often take medications. If you're on anticoagulants like warfarin or antiplatelet drugs, and too much turmeric could increase bleeding risk. Always check with a healthcare provider first.
So, let's summarize the top 6 mistakes to avoid. 1. Taking turmeric without fat. 2. Forgetting black pepper. 3. Using low-quality or adulterated powders. 4. Being inconsistent, expecting results in a few days. 5. Storing it improperly. 6. Taking too much or ignoring drug interactions. So today, we didn't just talk about turmeric. We talked about how to make turmeric truly work by pairing it with black pepper, healthy fats, quercetin-rich foods, and omega-3 seconds. It's not about adding more pills to your routine. It's about making your food smarter. Many people over 60 struggle with chronic inflammation, joint stiffness, brain fog, fatigue, and they're told to simply rest or take painkillers. But inflammation starts from within, and that means healing must come from within as well.
When you combine turmeric with the right partners like the traditional golden milk we mentioned, or a salmon fillet rubbed with turmeric, you're not just eating. You're activating your body's ability to repair and renew. And I always say this to my patients: don't wait until pain shows up. Prevention is the highest form of healing. A spoon of turmeric, taken the right way every day, it can do far more than any medication after inflammation has already taken hold.
If today's episode helped clarify how to use turmeric wisely, give it a try this week. Notice how your joints feel, how your energy changes. Healing doesn't always need to come from the pharmacy. It can come from your kitchen and from knowledge. Because once you understand what your body needs, you become your own best doctor.